Jordan in?
Jordan is on Zoom, yes.
Oh, I got it. Okay, now I got you. Okay, Jordan. Now, good. Okay, now I'm geared up. Okay. Okay, it's 5 o'clock. Is Chief around too?
He just stopped at the highway department and he had to go to Crossroad. He said he hoped he wasn't all.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, we get started. Okay. I'm going to call the meeting to order. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Go through the, Jordan, we've signed off on everything, so just, so there's no necessity on your part to come through, okay? The meeting minutes, is everybody comfortable with the meeting minutes from December 1st, 7th, 15th, 19th?
Mr. Chairman, I have read those and I make a motion that they be, I had one little suggestion and that was regard to the motion for the FEMA extension, to add 2 little words to that set of minutes.
Okay,
Just so that it was clear that we were talking about the extension for the FEMA purposes.
for the bridges.
For the bridges, yes.
Okay,
So with that, I move that they be accepted and in one case as amended, Mr. Chairman.
okay. We need a second? Jordan?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, and a vote?
Omer votes yes.
Arnie votes yes.
Gordon votes yes.
Okay. So that change, Linda, you understand what that change is going to be? Okay, good.
Yeah, it was actually put into a copy. She made the change and I initialed it, and
Okay, good.
it should be part of the record now.
The abatements for inventory form penalties were signed off on. Intent to cut on Dakotas. I didn't see that. Did I? Is
You
that
signed it last week.
last? Okay, that's why I didn't see it.
I signed it today.
Okay, good. Land use change on tax for Gardner. Now, Avatar, I guess, went by and visited the property and found that they had a place that they were living in. So they
Yes.
changed that, and it's just for that 1 acre around the piece?
Is it one acre?
Or the land is surrounding the house, as
Yes,
I understand it?
yes. And they valued it at 10,000, so the land use change tax is $1,000.
Okay, good. Okay, the holiday pay for hourly highway employees. Well, could you just briefly outline that? And I've signed off on it.
There was actually,
Just for the.
yeah, it came up in discussion with Linda, because somebody had a question about their check anyway. But it came up for discussion. I asked Linda and she said, well, I think I overpaid them. We went over a couple of things and she was under the assumption that when you get called into work on a holiday, the highway department, it states that the highway department gets called into work, that you would receive time and a half.
Okay,
And my understanding was that you get your holiday pay.
okay,
This is on holidays. You get your holiday pay on top of time and a half. So if you came in for a holiday, say you came in and worked for 4 hours, so
do you get paid for
you,
that?
you should get paid 8 hours of holiday. This is my opinion. This is what's happened in other companies that I've worked for.
Right,
You get paid your holiday pay, and on top of your holiday pay, if you get called in, you also get your hourly rate times 1.5 on top of your holiday pay. So essentially, you're I guess it's benefiting hourly employees, but it's I guess a bonus for coming in on a holiday. I would have to. My recommendations.
yeah, well, it
Is
is,
that you're basically getting 2.5 times your pay to work a holiday. If it happens, and we did work Thanksgiving Day, I think we put in 3.5 or 4 hours, something like that on Thanksgiving Day. So that was always my assumption, as soon as I started here, and it is the employee's assumption that that's what is happening.
It was my assumption as well,
Okay,
during the,
so this is a
Policy meetings that
clarification,
we've
this is a
had.
clarification issue.
yeah.
It's because the policy handbook doesn't really state that. I guess you could read it either way.
Well, that's why I was adding what's highlighted there, it's 5 words. It's
Yes.
just 5 words,
Yeah,
and
I
I
can-
just wanted, after discussion, just to initial it, and then I'll exchange that page in the
Okay.
policy handbook.
Elmer, your thoughts?
I guess, didn't we just approve this policy
We
handbook?
did, but, yeah,
And there was a lot of, from my recollection, there was a lot of discussion on that.
This is the,
Yeah.
not on the holiday.
this
So
is,
we didn't change anything with holidays on there.
well.
Jordan, I guess I'd like to hear what Jordan has to say first, Mr. Chairman, if I may, on this.
Could you read? You said it was just a little short sentence. Just
Yes, I'll be,
from the policy handbook.
sure. The policy handbook is can you hear me okay? Okay.
Yeah.
The policy handbook, the only change is on the last sentence, should the highway department be required to work on a holiday due to weather conditions, hourly employees will receive 1.5 times their normal rate in addition to their holiday pay. Because they're getting holiday pay for that day anyways.
Yeah, so to me, that makes it sound like if they forfeited, they gave up their holidays. They
Right.
paid for the holiday, and they get overtime. That's how I would read it too.
Okay, would you agree to add this change to the policy book?
I would agree that from the sounds of it, that's my interpretation.
Okay. Homer?
Okay. I move that we amend the policy book to include that language.
Okay. I vote yes.
I vote yes, Homer votes yes.
You want to just initial?
I vote yes.
Okay, we're gonna initial it for you, okay?
So you seconded,
Yes.
I just,
I'm sorry, you broke up.
I was gonna say, I would second, if
Okay.
nobody in a second, I vote yes.
Okay, we're all set. Okay, so that's done. The hazard mitigation plan, we've all reviewed it. The state, and because of COVID, we're allowed to have an extension on it. I think everybody has reviewed the hazard mitigation plan as it stands, and we're just about ready to sign off on it. But after talking with Chief Ames and a number of others, if we take a little more time to finalize our thoughts, maybe about 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I think we'll be able to sign off on it and move it up the chain. Chief, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I feel that's, from my recommendation, that's the move we should make, is maybe not postpone this, but it gives us a little breathing room by adding that extension in to further look at, because for example, Paul called me the other day in question on something to do with a red line bridge. Well, that's gonna take a little research.
Right.
So,
See, I want to make sure that we add in the East Side Bridge to this, or any other potential problems. And it means we need to get out in town, look at potential hazards, and include these in the plan.
yeah, exactly.
This extension allows us to go to July, but I don't want to procrastinate on it. I think everybody in town has put a lot of work into this, and we've got to keep the ball moving forward. So I would want to get this done by the end of January. Is everybody comfortable with that?
I feel comfortable with that as long as,
Okay.
Did you say you wanted to get East Side Road Bridge on that because you didn't see it on there? Or was that
I didn't
just,
see it on
it
there.
is on there, table 9-1, if you go down.
Table 9.
Yeah, it's like page 130 something. It's table 9-1, it says the bridge over Martinsbrook.
That's a,
That's the bridge.
that's the bridge.
That's the bridge.
okay.
It's around
Good.
page 130. Table 9-1.
I just don't want us to miss anything.
Yep, it's on there.
I agree.
Chief,
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I mean, okay,
Yeah.
okay, good. Okay, Andrew, are you picking up anybody on YouTube with questions on this?
Negative, not at this time.
Okay, good. Okay, we'll move on. On my report, I started into some initial negotiations with New Hampshire Timber Owners Association. They came to us and they've got a program, it's a state program and this is really applies to you, Jordan, where they want to really improve town forests. They've worked in over in Vermont a lot at the Farley and the Bradford forests, and what they're doing is improving the stand quality because they look at the town forests as potential income for the towns. And the other thing that they really want to get is bringing the public into the towns. So they want to make increase recreational uses of the town. So what I'm proposing, I'm just running this by the town to see if there's an interest from the point of view of the town of Wentworth to pursue this. They'll fund it. And we just have to develop a plan on what we want to do with the Plummer and the Turner forests. Jordan, your thoughts on that?
As far as forest improvement and everything, we kind of just completed that. I wrote a plan, we implemented it, covered most of the property. It was all standard improvement thinnings and things like that.
Uh-huh.
As far as anything to do that way, I'm not sure there's much. If the town wanted to do hiking trails and stuff like that and vote on a warrant article or something, then that's something that could be done.
So yeah, what they're willing to fund is increasing recreational opportunities for the town. Biking trails, hiking trails, parking areas, and they'll fund it. My thought was we could use and employ local construction people to do it, take advantage of the materials that are thrown away at the mills to help pave the paths. Homer, what's your thoughts?
I think whatever we can do to improve and maintain our forest lands for, town income, but also to educate the public about the importance of our woodlands. And, they're really important to, us in this part of New Hampshire especially. We got two
Right.
major mills in this town, and if you're at my house at 4 o'clock in the morning, you hear the logging trucks go by every morning, 4 o'clock,
Yeah.
loud.
Well,
So it's important. This is an important economic thing for our community.
that was one of the other things they brought up is education for the towns. I think it's a good idea. I'm gonna make a motion that we move forward on this, that we continue negotiating with New Hampshire Timber Owners Association and see what they're willing to promote. And also, I'd like to open it to the town to see if people in town are interested in taking part in a small committee to find out what we really want to do with our town forests for the future. The same kind of committee that we did when Paul had to choose new equipment, do that sort of thing. So I'm opening up to the town of Wentworth on YouTube. If you're interested in this, just call Linda and just let her know, and we'll coordinate a committee and get going on it.
Ernie, I think it's important to recognize too that any hiking trails should be carefully coordinated with the forestry aspect. So I think I would want to be involved if they were going to do hiking trails and such, because a lot of times people are lazy and they just happen to
Shocking.
use the main arteries in trails, the hiking trails.
Yeah.
The next time you go in there and do something, it's a horrible nightmare and you have to work around it. So I would take great pains to put the trails in the right locations, so we don't have to fix them the next time you go logging. That would be important.
That's exactly what I'm looking for. And
I I have connections on the TLA too, so if you want me to check in with them, I know the vice president.
Who did you, I'm sorry, I missed what you said, you broke up.
I have connections with some of the TLA members. The vice president, I believe he's the vice president, Sean McHugh, was a friend of mine that
Okay.
works there. So I can reach out to him and ask him more about it.
Okay. Okay, good. Homer, any?
And I'm sure Jason Stock, who is the executive director of the NHTOA, would be glad to come and talk with us too if we needed so. No, I think this is a great idea.
Okay.
I just think it's, and especially where it's not gonna take any taxpayer dollars, if there's funding coming from.
No, they're coming to us.
Yeah,
They're
so
coming to
I
us.
think that's
So-
an opportunity we really don't wanna pass up on.
How many different town forests does the town have, and about approximately how many acres does the town forests, all of them, have? I'm just curious.
Jordan, did you hear that question? Go ahead.
Yeah. The Plummer lot, I think, is 130. The Van Dusen piece that abuts and is a part of the Plummer lot is another 35. So that's 165 by my memory. And then on Turner Road by Jeff Ames's is 15.
So, I mean, there's plenty of resources to have avid mountain biking trails and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
so, I mean, in my opinion, if anybody in town is an avid mountain biker that could put in some information, that would be a good start, you know?
Yeah,
I know there's a lot of mountain bikers and, you know,
there are. And there's good,
it's a great idea, honestly.
there's some resident architects for mountain bike trails who are in Dorchester, at Bob Green's
Yeah.
place, that we can tap into.
There's a
that.
lot of people who use the.
Good,
bikes.
okay, so I'm sensing we got good energy here. So my motion is to continue on with this by meeting with the New Hampshire Timber Owners Association. Jordan, would you, I know you got a lot going on with the baby coming and stuff, but is this something you could head up as far as who you want in the committee?
I can reach out to the TOA and I'll talk it over with John and see what the details are. And then I can communicate next time for more information.
Okay, super, super. You want to second this?
I'll second the motion, yes.
And I vote yes?
Homer votes yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Okay. Chief Ames, fire report.
Okay, so calls for service, we had an odor in the building with a detector activation on Atwell Hill Road here in Wentworth. What we found was an oil furnace pipe had come apart from the chimney. We cleared the building, vented, and the homeowner then had it repaired. The next call we had was a structure fire, mutual aid to Warren. We had 2 buildings on fire on that particular lot.
2.
Yeah. Wentworth went with 15 firefighters and 3 pieces of equipment. And then the next one we had was a rekindle on that structure fire the next morning. So there was a hot spot, it rekindled, we went up and helped. And that building has now been excavated, so,
Were these buildings separate?
yes.
Okay.
So it is under investigation by the Warren Fire Chief
Okay.
and Fire
No, I was
Marshal's
just
office.
curious, okay.
Yeah. Training. This last meeting, we broke out into 2 different groups. One group went over rural hitch, which is a method in which we use to move water, great amounts of water. And then the other group went over the new refurb 4.5 air packs that we just received. So we've got those on the trucks.
Okay.
People are familiar with all that. I've had a couple of meetings with a couple of different towns and their officers to see what we can better do for each other on mutual aid calls, what their specific needs might be, and ours as well.
Okay.
And then personnel, all members of the department are working hard on training calls and assignments. Due to the fact that we're experiencing an influx of new members, we were at a discussion of adding a 3rd meeting during the month for just the new members. And it would be specific to training.
Okay,
So it bring them up to speed a little quicker.
that's probably a good idea.
So, and that's all I have.
Okay, have you heard any more from DART on the winter training program?
I haven't heard anything direct from them. I've got everybody lined up for the 16th at 8 a.m.
Okay, good, so okay, there's nothing else, no other action items?
I don't
need to
think we
do?
need to do any other, I don't know if you've heard anything from, the Army on the other,
No.
but
I'll, okay. I'm gonna, reach out on that. Okay. Good. Could you do me a favor and maybe go get,
sure.
Chief? Paul, do you wanna jump in and, do the road agent?
Sure. We're lucky enough to get some snow that kept us busy for a few days, but the rain washed it away. We had some very minor flooding on Christmas Day that I came in. Really, there's not much I can do while it's happening. Upper Roantown Road had some water coming across it. The thing that I really did worry about was when I came in the afternoon, Preston Road, the culverts at Preston Road and Cross Road were almost at capacity. And if it didn't stop raining, we were gonna be in some trouble. Thank the good Lord it stopped when it did. Water receded quickly. Only real issue we had was up on Cape Moonshine Road, right at the Piermont line. There was a pretty good washout in the road, not much. I didn't have any gravel down in the shop. But we wouldn't fix it Monday. We took 3 loads of gravel. We've got the waste oil furnace all ready to go except for the chimney parts and pieces that we're waiting for. As soon as I get that and it's together, I'm gonna call Chief Ames and he can come down and do his inspection.
Okay. You got an electrician all hooked up in there?
He did it yesterday. Mike Gilbert did it.
Okay,
He
good.
did it when he was putting in the ceiling fans.
Okay. And,
So it's got an emergency shut off. It's got the automatic, what do they call it, firematic or whatever,
right.
on the ceiling above it. He did it. He put everything in. It's ready to go. Just waiting on pieces and parts for the chimney.
Okay. It's just for people in town who are observing on YouTube, what we're doing is we're taking any waste oil that comes in through the recycling area and using it to heat the town shed by putting in a new furnace. Good. I drove out to Frescon Road and to Crosstown, looked at both bridges that morning after the big rain, and I looked at the snow line and the water line, and it was 3/4 the way up the entire culvert. So
yeah.
it was at least that. And so I went after the fact. The water receded very quickly, but once it gets above the culvert, it's gonna take the whole bridge. So I think the fact that we're pursuing the bridges it's critical. It really carved it home in my mind that we gotta get this thing done. Okay.
The biggest problem we have when it rains like that is we've had a lot of cold weather before, and the rain has got nowhere to go in the ground.
Right.
The ground is frozen.
And then the snow melt.
And then the snow melt. The ground did thaw out a little bit,
Yeah.
but that's the biggest problem. This time of year when you get rain, the ground is frozen. It's got nowhere to go.
You're right. Thank you. Chief Trot?
Yes, sir. So, I'll do a quick report for you. I have to drop this mask down a little bit, just so I don't steal my glasses out. So, over the last couple of weeks, the police department have had a number of calls for service. One of them pertained to a investigation with the New Hampshire Department of Adult and Elderly Services regarding a Wentworth resident, and a concern
Hey, Chief,
report that was made to
Can
them.
you, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Okay, I'm gonna have to take this
Yeah,
just down,
that's
okay?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah.
All right. So, I'll maintain some social distancing while I'm doing this. So we assisted the New Hampshire Department of Adult and Elderly Services with an intake report that they had regarding one of our elderly residents. We're in the process with them in looking into that. Nothing that appears to be a concern, so that's a good thing. We took a report of a credit fraud where a resident from Texas actually had a credit card that was used for one of their businesses. Some items were purchased and attempted to be shipped to an address in Wentworth. We were able to contact the shipping company and the company where the initial purchases were made and foil those shipments from being made. And we were able to have the individuals whose credit card was utilized get reimbursed for the monies. Normally in a situation like this, what we're finding out is happening, law enforcement as a whole, people are able to get other individuals' credit cards or bank accounts. They'll make a charge, have it shipped to a residence, and then try to get the shipping date and time that it's estimated to be delivered. And someone will be there to pick it up or take it before the person who actually lives there knows that their residence was used in the commission of a crime. So in this case, we were able to get the money back, get it applied to his credit card again, have the original items not leave the warehouse, and of course, received quite a bit of cooperation from the resident in town whose residence it was going to be shipped to. Ironically, and this is where I caution people when they're using the internet, he had made a transaction on the internet to the same company and ordered something different that got shipped to a different location in the state of New Hampshire. And he wound up actually almost losing his purchase because they had said that the transaction had been completed, the delivery was made, and he had no way of proving that it had not been made. But because of this happening in the same short time frame, we were able to show that there was obviously an internet scam that was taking place, and the company was good enough to make amends with both parties involved. So that was a good thing. We've had 2 welfare checks on Wentworth residents over the last 2 weeks. Both had positive outcomes, and we were able to actually assist one of the residents with getting some assistance regarding a utility issue that she was having. I want to thank the people who called us regarding the welfare checks, because obviously we have a vested interest in taking care of our residents, and if someone has a concern, please feel free to call. We have no problems going out and checking on them and making sure that they're okay. We received a law enforcement letter from DCYF regarding an intake report on a family in Wentworth that may require some services from them and us. That as well as being addressed by DCYF and the Wentworth Police Department. Certainly not uncommon this time of the year, unfortunately. But they're being taken care of, and that's all that matters. I'd like to speak on a couple of administrative items if I can. During our last Zoom meeting, I briefed the selectmen on the Wentworth Police Department's policy regarding COVID-19. And we've been discussing that in detail for some time now. As of today's date, I have my policy completed in writing as a finished product, so I will submit that to Linda. I know you wanted it in writing.
Yeah,
so
I want those things in writing so that part of the minutes, so people
yes,
can go right to the minutes.
so she will have that before the night is over with.
Okay.
I also, during the last Zoom meeting, made a recommendation to the selectmen that they accept the nomination of Wentworth resident Bill Melanson as our new animal control officer, and that was voted on and approved. I want to thank you for that, because next week is obviously when he will be starting.
Right.
Having said that, I've placed 2 orders on behalf of the ACO and the town of Wentworth for clothing and equipment needed in order for him to be able to carry out his duties starting January 21st. Those orders or invoices will come out of the ACO line item, not my budget line item. And just so that you know, there's more than enough money in there to cover that. But I just want to make you aware, I've ordered them a couple of shirts, a jacket, some gloves.
Who does the budgeting for that? Do you do that, or?
Normally it's something that the selectmen do.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Okay, I'm really asking. Okay.
Yeah, it hasn't changed much over the last couple of years, so.
Okay.
We signed the checks for those things tonight, Chief.
Great, good, thank you. The board will see an invoice regarding a repair that had to be made to our cruiser. I was having some brake issues, and actually Chief Ames brought it to my attention, and I'm glad that he did. I found out there was some much needed brake work that needed to be done in the front of the cruiser. So a repair cost of like $230, but it's budgeted for, it's in my budget, it's taken care of. I bring that up only to lay the groundwork that although I have not asked for a cruiser this year, I will be looking to replace one in 2022.
Okay,
The cruiser that we have will be 7 years old at that time and coming up on 100,000 miles, so we'll be wanting to look at replacing that. But when the time comes, we'll do it in a warrant article like we normally do. And
so you're not gonna do it as, are you gonna do it as a warrant article for this March?
No,
Or the
sir.
Following?
the following.
Following
Yes,
March,
we can get one more year and a few more thousand miles out of it, and then we'll address that in 2022.
Okay,
Okay? Any questions for me?
no, thank you. Jordan, you got any questions, or?
No, thank you, chief, very much. Appreciate your good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any
Thank you,
questions?
Jeff Ames, for
Excuse me,
bringing that
any-
break home.
No, you took questions.
Okay.
I knew you could, I'm glad.
The last importance, I'm gonna go over some important dates leading to the town meeting, which everybody should be aware of. January 12th is gonna be the first public hearing on our annual budget. It'll be at the elementary school. It's the last, February 2nd is the last day for 25 or more voters to petition the select board to include an article for a warrant. If a second budget meeting is needed, it'll be on February 12th. Monday, February 22nd is the last day for the select board to post warrants and budgets at the polling places, be it the town offices, post office, and at Shawnee's. March 2nd will be the annual town report with the budget, must be available. And the town meeting will be at the Wentworth Elementary School on March 13th, 2021. I talked with Steve Welch.
That was added in town elections. You don't have it on your.
Oh, okay. The elections are gonna be on March 9th. And Steve Welch is gonna make arrangements for modifications for the town meeting in view of the COVID crisis that we're in. So we're gonna take that into consideration. Jordan, any updates on the gravel pit?
Not really, there's not much to do until we get funding for the survey and stuff like that, research.
And then we're gonna do that through a warrant?
It'll be through, Linda's already written it, I have to vote, so.
Okay. Okay, new business, we've got a library notice here, Linda.
Yeah, I just thought I'd read it. It's a short notice. The library's made some changes. It says the Webster Memorial Library has changed automation systems. And if you use the Libby Overdrive for downloadable books through your library card, you will need to come to the library no later than January 9th to get a new card, as your old card won't work any later than January 11th. If you have holds or checkouts, they will disappear as of January 11th. If you're not comfortable coming in person, please contact the library, and they'll do it by mail or porch side, no contact.
Okay. Netta Morse,
I don't know if she's here. She keeps saying she's coming.
okay, I'm gonna, Andrew, while she's checking on Netta Morse, you wanna do the broadband update?
Yeah, sure. So I spoke a little bit about it this past meeting, but obviously we're having some technical difficulties, so I wanted to go over some of that stuff again and answer any questions that folks have as well. Anyone that's listening on YouTube, please type out a message or a question. So as of right now, the process that we're going through is all via or is all based off of Senate Bill 170, SB 170 in the New Hampshire state government. And what that allows us to do is ultimately issue a bond or a town issued bond that would ultimately pay for build out of broadband infrastructure in town. As of right now, there's 2 internet service providers in town. You could technically get satellite, but that's not considered in this project. There's Charter's Spectrum service, and then there's Consolidated Communications. There are other upcoming services that people have reached out to me about, such as NHEC. They passed a change to their bylaws so they could actually build out fiber. That's going to be way down the road. People have been asking me about that. That's not something that's going to be in the near future. Then there's also other services out there, such as SpaceX has a pilot program right now called Starlink. They're basically launching thousands of satellites into low orbit to ultimately provide you actually much faster internet than the satellite internet that's out there right now. The satellites that are out there right now are high orbit satellites, and it's a very, very long round trip time. So when you make a request out to the internet, it's going to go up to that satellite, and it's going to come back down to whatever website that you need to go to. And it's a very long process while that satellite's in high orbit versus low orbit. So this service that ultimately has been proposed is called the Fiber to the Premises, or FTTP type network. It's fiber optic cabling that's going to be installed throughout town. Everyone will have the opportunity to get this service. There's going to be some very small outlying related customers that may have to pay extra, only if they don't have conduit or telephone poles that go up to their close to their house.
Okay.
So at the moment, we did an RFI, a request for information, and we got that back. We got that back from Spectrum, and we got that back from Consolidated. And then the next step in the process was an RFP, a request for proposal. That proposal is what I have in my hand, and that's what you also have on your desk right now. I also posted that online, so if anybody would like to review it, I posted it on the Wentworth bulletin board, and can also send it out via email if someone can't access it. The request for proposal, or the answer for that, ultimately goes over some questions that are somewhat common. Give me just a sec here.
So this is just from Consolidated, this isn't from Spectrum?
Correct. So I missed something. So
Okay.
Charter that gives a Spectrum service, they did not answer the RFI.
Okay.
So they can't be considered to be part of the process any longer because they never answered it. I did, just for the record, I did go out of my way. I had multiple emails going back and forth between Charter and myself, and a phone call,
Yeah.
at least one phone call, and still got no answer. So, just because there's definitely some legal items
Yeah.
related to that. Okay, so one common question that comes up is cost of installation from street to residence. This can include a per foot charge, but what Consolidated ultimately indicates is Consolidated generally weighs all installation and construction charges within industry standard distances from network splice points to customer premises. Special construction costs may be assessed in circumstances that exceed industry standards as required by state and federal rules. Generally, these construction costs are assessed on any drop cable length exceeding 150 feet. But again, what I indicated before, if there is conduit or if there is telephone poles up to the house,
Yeah.
even if it's a class 6 road, they'll still install that.
Well, it sounds like if you got electricity in your house,
Right, if you have electricity,
you're
then
not gonna have any additional cost.
right, exactly. There's gonna be some small edge cases from what I understand. There may be, there may not be.
Excuse me, what kind of cases, small, what?
Edge cases, just cases that may not fit the vast majority of customers in town. Someone that may be off-grid in town, that don't have telephone poles or conduit going to their house where they could run fiber optic cable. That then ultimately indicating we're gonna have to install telephone poles or something, or conduit all the way up to the house.
Basically, people living off the grid.
Right, I would suspect so.
Yeah.
So again, this would be paid for via bond. I am in contact with a bond lawyer right now. I recently started that process. I have various different documents I need to give the bond lawyer. I don't have, I know there was a question around maybe cost of that before. I'm going to work that out. I want to make sure that's paid for. The town does not have to pay for that. That'll be worked out. And I'll be speaking with a bond lawyer within the next couple of weeks. Let's see here. Just a point of information, Consolidated Communications bought out Fairpoint, who bought out Verizon within, was it Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. So Consolidated has the largest fiber optic network throughout this region, not considering Massachusetts. There's various different projects going on throughout the state for broadband improvement. Chesterfield, Westmoreland, even towns, it looks like they even said towns in Maine and whatnot. Chesterfield, they were looking at about $1.8 million for their town to be built out. We are looking at about $1.5 million and change. But again, that's going to be something that would be completely covered by the bond. No taxes would increase in town. Nobody in town would incur any type of additional fees unless they subscribe to this service. And I do have at the last page here some of the pricing related to it. The fee that's ultimately that's assessed on the last page of this RFP document is all included in these prices. It's around $15 and change as a way to pay back that bond. And again, that will be added into the actual cost of the service. There's service anywhere between about 25 megabits per second all the way up to a gigabit per second, which is 1,000 megabits per second. Most people in town right now, if they have Consolidated, are maxing out at about, at the very highest, at about 22 megabits per second and download, and about 2 megabits per second upload. With this service, you'll be able to get upwards of 1,000 megabits per second down and 1,000 megabits per second up.
So that's a significant speed.
Significant difference. And I do want to note, while there's many people having problems with Consolidated right now, it is a completely different service. And anyone having problems with Spectrum right now, that is also a completely different service. Spectrum, aka a cable company, their service is all based off of shared bandwidth. So the problem we're having right now in the world is making internet service very hard to, there's stability related issues there. So you have all these people in town are all on the internet at the same time. Because cable is shared bandwidth, you're eating all that bandwidth up that you're getting, and that's causing a problem for everybody.
So this would allow people in town to get dedicated bandwidth.
Exactly. So the fiber service through Consolidated is all dedicated bandwidth. You always have it all the time. No matter how many people are on, you're always going to have that bandwidth. So it's going to be higher bandwidth, and it's going to be dedicated. So I wanted to note that. I'm not going to go through all the different pricing, but the 50 megabit per second price, which again is significantly more than what anyone's getting in town through Consolidated, is about $77.35, including the cost to pay back the bond as well.
Okay.
So I know there's a lot more information in this RFP document. I definitely want people to reach out if they have questions.
Where can people let people on YouTube know where they can get a copy of this to review?
So right now, the document's posted on the Wentworth bulletin board,
Okay.
Wentworth News and Views. I do have a Google Drive location as well, and I can send it out via email. If anyone wants to reach out to me via email, I'm at andrew@shiretech.com, SHIRETEK.com, and I'll be happy to send that document off via email.
And that'll be in the minutes.
Right,
Good.
yeah, I'll make sure, actually, I'll give you a digital copy, Linda, I think, that'll probably be easiest, I'm guessing. I can give you a paper copy as well. But, do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, I have no questions. Good night.
Since I'm going to be a new county commissioner effective January 6th, I've been attending commissioner meetings, and two of the last meetings that I've been attending since the beginning of November, there's been presentations by a number of town administrative assistants, town managers about the broadband program that they've asked the county to help them with. Are you familiar with that situation?
I am, and I failed to speak on that, so thanks for bringing it up.
Okay, thank you.
So NHEC, I just want to touch upon this again. NHEC, their fiber build out, that's going to be a ways down the road. They're going to try to get fiber to all their customers throughout the state that they cover. But again, that's going to be down the road. They did.
You say down the road.
How
far? I mean,
that's not something that they can even fathom in at least the next year or two. I know that they started installing in northern New Hampshire. The ease of the build up
so
there.
they're at the strategic level. They're not at the tactical level of executing.
Right. The last time I spoke to them, which was within the last couple of months, we're looking at least a couple of years down the road before they really even look at this area.
Are they starting to do that up in Colbrook right now?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about up north. So they started something up there, but the timeline for them to build out to the rest of the customers is going to be significant.
Okay.
Same thing with the Grafton County initiative. That whole committee was just started a few months ago. They've had a few different meetings, I think upwards of maybe 5 or 6 meetings now, I think. Their timeline, I have no idea about. I know that's going to be significantly longer than anything that we're doing right now as well.
Okay.
So,
let me just summarize, just to make sure I got it clear. So this will be dedicated by improving this infrastructure. We'll do it through a bond to pay for the infrastructure build out.
right.
And it's going to be paid for by the people that use it.
Correct.
Okay.
The people that subscribe to it.
It'll have dedicated bandwidth, so when you turn your computer on and get it going, you're not gonna have up days and down days depending on other people in
Correct.
town, and it's gonna be faster.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Jeff?
Is there gonna be a minimum of subscribers?
A minimum subscribers, there's been no chatter about that there has to be a minimum minimum amount of subscribers. I have not heard that from any of the other towns as well.
That's a good question, because from the company's point of view, if they go and put the infrastructure in and nobody signs up.
Well, here's the thing. I've had hundreds of people honestly come to me already, whether that's online or seeing them around town,
Yeah.
with their interest in it, with all kinds of different reasons, whether that's remote learning, running their business from home, things.
Our society is becoming very digital.
Absolutely,
So the
especially
demand-
with this pandemic.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just an analog person in the digital world, but I can see it's coming.
right. So I definitely, Jeff, I don't see it as a problem at all. With the Consolidated did an analysis of the town. They do not have broadband service in any part of town. Spectrum does, but it's a very small part of town.
Right.
So, and all of the people that have been talking to me about this, having issues, most people are not around the core of the middle of the town. So, I guess I'd consider more the core around the common and around this,
Yeah.
this larger area, I suppose.
Well, the majority of the people are outside that core.
Right. So,
Jordan, do you have any questions at all?
No, you're doing a good job, Andrew. Most of it's over my head.
hey, if there's anything that is, or anybody online listening as well, if I'm speaking and you're not understanding what I'm saying, feel free to ask a question. Sometimes I can't talk at a certain level when I get to these technical details. Maybe I shouldn't talk in certain technical details, but if you want me to elaborate on something or to speak a different way, then feel free to ask.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I may. So you're talking about this program is dedicated just to the town of Wentworth. Is that correct?
This whole project is specifically for Wentworth.
Yes.
Just for the town of Wentworth, okay.
So I do want to say one thing before I end this, and it's that when Westmoreland, New Hampshire, they started their project, they voted on this at their town meeting, March of this year, and most of their town is already built out.
It's pretty quick.
Yes. That's why I'm saying that NHEC and this Grafton County project, Starlink, all of that is going to be nowhere as fast as this build out that we need, and we need it right now. I mean,
Right.
people need this right now to work
Yeah,
from home.
especially with the COVID and the remote learning.
Right.
We gotta get this up.
But ultimately, it's up to the town to vote on it, the vote on issuing the bond at the town meeting in March.
Okay,
So-
and you're working with Linda to break up?
Yep, I'll be working with Linda on that. There's also, I do have a meeting with my committee this upcoming Monday. We have to officially accept this proposal with Consolidated, and also I'll have to start setting up, we'll have to have a minimum of 2 public hearings before the town meeting, which I'm gonna set one up, plan on setting one up by the end of January and one by the end of February.
Okay, you want those dedicated to just this, the town meetings?
The public hearing
you want
would have to
to-
be something completely separate from
Okay,
the
'cause
select
I
board
just-
meeting, I think.
Okay, I just went over a list of meetings that we're gonna have,
Okay, yeah.
normally.
But this will have to be something completely separate. And I know I haven't come up with a specific dates yet, but
Okay,
we will have to have something
yeah, you're gonna have to,
separate.
yeah, you gotta realize, pay attention to these, because these are important dates.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm gonna see if I can get a copy of that.
We'll get you a copy.
Okay, perfect.
Andrew, is this meeting on Monday, is this a limited people that can show up to this meeting?
It's technically the broadband committee in town, but I'd be happy to have other people on it if they'd like to be.
Is it gonna be a Zoom meeting?
It's going to be a video conference online. It's not going to be Zoom. It's going to be a Microsoft Team meeting, but you have every capability to log into that as well,
And what time is this meeting at on, you say it's Monday, January 4th?
though. Correct. Give me just a second.
If I can, I'd like to sit in on it, because what I'm hearing from the county organization,
Mm-hmm.
or they're making requests of the county, which is not what the county had originally been advised, from what I understand. And it's, the picture has changed dramatically from what they were first, the county commissioners were first advised from this group. So I'm just, I agree 100% with the chairman. This is so important to have this broadband here. And he's explained the reason. So I agree with the chairman 110% on that.
Mhm.
So, but if I can, I would like to sit in just to listen. I promise I will not say a word.
You can. excuse me if I don't completely believe that, but. That is completely fine to do ask questions, so.
Oh, all right, thank you
Yeah,
very much.
Absolutely, I'll send you off the invite to your email.
All right, thank you.
Gotta have a sense of humor. Okay,
Thanks, guys.
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
Meg, through you to Andrew, I didn't really understand what he was talking about. You know where I live. I have 2,000 feet of Class 6 road, and I have 1,000 feet of driveway. Will they run that cable all the way up to my house at no charge, or am I gonna have to pay for that?
Rick, we're gonna we'll have to discuss that. If you can get to me offline, and I can throw that question directly out to Consolidated.
Okay, I know how to get you.
Yeah, no worries. I know you know my number, where I live, and all that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, yeah.
okay, any more questions from YouTube people?
Nobody online.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay,
Excuse me, I have two things I gotta go over with you that I didn't do in my road agent report.
okay,
You
sure.
want me to do it now or wait?
Why don't you do it now?
All right, the first one was, Linda got my budget ready yesterday, what I had left over, and I was on the phone with Lori Bixby.
Okay,
They literally just dropped this off before I got up
Tonight's
here,
meeting, yeah.
so that it could be done in this year's budget. What we came up with was 1,200 yards of gravel.
okay,
And the price of that is $11.25 per yard, and they have an invoice here. And if we accept it, then I guess we can just go ahead with the
how much
invoice.
are they gonna do per yard?
It's $11.25 a yard.
Okay.
And the total amount would be $13,500. I had just over $15,000 left in my budget after
Okay,
fixing the truck, and there were some other items that I did not know were coming out of my budget.
yeah,
I didn't plan on. So you guys can look at that.
okay,
If you're okay, I guess we're good to go. The next thing is yesterday, Charlie from Western Star called me, and he got the appraisal for our truck back.
hey, hang on, let me just, I'm gonna finish this first, hold it, hang on,
Okay.
before we get moving. Okay, I think that, this is on the gravel, Omer?
Mhm.
I'm gonna make a motion that, we encumber, how much here?
13,500.
$13,500 from the road agent's budget for this year, to purchase this gravel for the following year. Any thoughts?
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Jordan?
I was just curious, I'm gonna support it. I was just wondering how much it was going up next year. You said it was going to be record high.
I think,
It's going up 50 cents a yard. It'll be $11.75 next year, picked up at the pit.
That's what, $6,500 we saved
yeah,
on us?
What is 1,200? So that's $700.
yeah, we're gonna save money doing this.
Yeah.
And he's gonna put the gravel aside for us and store it. We don't have to move it now. It'll be available next year, but,
We
we just encumber the money from this year's budget, using excess money for this budget to pay for next year.
so
I
in.
don't guess.
Yes,
Yes, I vote yes. You know, we pay that bill, he's gonna, keep it, obviously. And by doing this, I'm gonna reduce my budget by $20,000, okay?
okay,
So my budget, the total overall budget, you can take 20,000 out of the gravel budget, so it'll now be $350.99.
well, you guys work that out.
So just let me know. Okay, and, yep,
You don't want to encumber this, you want
It needs to be paid.
actually pay it.
yep,
Okay.
the invoice
So
needs to be
it's not gonna be
paid.
encumbered.
It's not gonna be encumbered then, Mr.
Oh, I
Chairman.
thought the goal was to encumber.
Well, in order for us to get the $11.25, we have to pay the bill.
So it's
Okay.
really not an encumbrance.
It's not an
So let
encumbrance.
me change,
You gotta pay for it
So
Okay.
it's just a motion to
It's-
purchase?
I make a motion to purchase it.
Yeah.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
It's a good price.
I vote yes.
I vote yes.
Yes,
Okay.
And the second thing I wanted to go over is
okay. Right, yeah.
Charlie from Western Star called yesterday. He had all the report for the trade-in. As long as the truck is in the same condition it is now, no fluids leaking, no lights on in the dash, won't be sitting down. They'll give us $9,000 for it.
9,000?
9,000. That's it. He said if it wasn't the motor, he said, you know, that truck, you probably get $30,000 for it, 35. He said it's $9,000. He said it's just the way it is. He said they're gonna resell it, maybe get $12,000, but they'll sit on it for a few months.
Okay. Jordan? Yeah?
Do we have to trade it, or do we have the option with these deals to try to sell it to private party? One option?
Paul?
The only thing that would concern me if trying to sell it is, number one, we don't sell it. And number two is, the warrant article is gonna have to read the exact amount, that we're gonna pay for the truck. So if we were to sell it for 15,000, and the warrant article read, we were purchasing the truck for, or the lease was whatever. I don't know if it still works out or not. I mean, we certainly can try to sell it outright. That's not my decision. Well, Jeff, what are your thoughts on this truck trying to sell it outright?
Well, I think if you sell it outright, it's got nothing to do with that warrant article. You
Okay.
have X amount in that warrant article for a lease of a truck. Any incoming money from that sale of that truck would then go back into your general fund, not to the purchase of a new truck. So, I don't know if you'll get more for it, selling it outright or not.
Over.
But I'm sorry,
Go ahead, Linda.
but you're saying you
Please.
can't figure out that first year's lease payment without knowing
Well,
whether it's gonna be traded in.
well, that's what I was getting to, right?
Right.
Hey, it's
So I guess you have to make a decision if you're gonna go.
see, the problem with selling it outright is you can't take that money and put it against the truck, the purchase. It goes into the general funds. So by us spending 185, 6, whatever thousand it was, okay? That number is not gonna be lowered like we were expecting because of
I thought we were gonna use the trade-in value of this
basically to
truck,
cover the cost of an automatic
automatic
transmission.
transmission.
That's basically what we're doing.
Does that do this?
Yes, by a few $100s.
Okay. Jordan, our goal on this, okay. I mean, we've accomplished the goal from the committee to use the truck to pay for the automatic transmission.
I'm just worried, after we did remember Paul stole the stuff that notified the town shed, and then Adam Patton came in and was like, oh, we're gonna give you $1,000, and we got 200. Even though we did market it as well as we could, it's just, $9,000 for the whole truck. My whole winner was 65. It's just hard to believe that that's how little it's worth. That's all.
And Jordan, I completely, I honestly, I was not shocked at all. Kevin Knapp stopped by the garage today and I was talking to him about it, and I wish I could talk like Kevin does, but he said, I'm surprised they'll give me that for it. And those are his exact words.
Yeah.
Actually, your brother was with Kevin when he stopped by, and your brother almost dropped over backward too.
In shock.
Yeah, he said, I'll buy it for that. And I'm like, Kevin's like, no, you won't. I won't let you.
Okay. Elmer?
So I'm just letting you know where we're at with that truck.
As they say, Mr. Chairman, this is kind of outside my bandwidth, it's beyond my bandwidth here. I gotta rely on you and Jordan especially, because you deal with big trucks like this all the time. I just deal with little tractors and chainsaws.
The decision we gotta make, we're gonna get back to Charlie to let him know.
Well, he's going ahead with it.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna go ahead with the purchase.
Maybe take next meeting and Jordan or you, anybody, talk to Kevin Knapp about it. He's the only person that I would say he would have all the input in the world.
Jordan, do you mind go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you could just ask Jeff one more time, I would trust his opinion. I don't know anything about trucks. He knows something about the truck, but what would he actually do if he had to make this decision?
Question to you, Jeff.
In all honesty, I'd trade that truck.
Yeah.
I don't know if I go through the headache of trying to advertise it, hold myself accountable for that truck to somebody that's bought it, because it could be going down the road and die right there. So I would use the trade-in value towards the lease program, is my opinion.
Jordan, could you hear him?
Yeah, that's, if Jeff and Paul and Kevin Knapp all agree that we should trade it, then I would be in favor of it. They know more about that than I do.
I look at this truck as a monster headache. I just wanna get rid of it. Okay.
I would, okay, go ahead and ask Wilbur.
No. Anything else?
No, I,
Okay, I think, we've decided just
Trade.
take it in, trade it in. Do we need to vote on that?
I'll make a motion if you want, let him trade it.
Okay. I would say the three of us agree on that.
yes, I agree, yeah.
Okay.
That's it for me.
That's it. Okay, I think we're at the end of the meeting. We're open for public comments. Andrew?
Marty,
Yes.
my turn?
Yes.
I had a question for Paul. I was just curious with the big storm, I know the South Branch comes up really high. I was wondering if Paul knew how close it came to that bridge. On Thayer Mountain Road?
Okay, I'm not-
I don't know exactly how close. I did not check that, Jordan, when I was out, because I did have culverts clogged up on Roantown, but I didn't hear of it, and when I went down and looked at the snow line on Monday, it doesn't look like it was within even 4 feet of the bottom of the bridge. I mean, everything stayed in the river bankings, is what I'm saying. It looked like to me there was no marks in the fields or anything where I could see debris or anything that would come over even into the field.
I checked that one the following day and it was okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Jordan?
That's-
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that we move into non-public, for, one topic. So we're gonna just do that.
Yep.
I'll second that.
Vote yes.
I vote yes.
They wanted
Hey, Chief,
Oh, yes.
will you stay in here for my non-public? Just quickly, I get to them quickly. I mean, they're very.
Okay,
That's
Jeff,
okay, just
take
that's
care.
okay with everyone involved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rick, I'm gonna have to kick you off.
Chief?
Goodbye, Rick.
Bye, Rick.
I do want to make sure that there's no phones open, no computer, anybody on